Good evening. It's 6:30. I'm back from my big chocolate week. This is Judy with Francini of Divina Cucina, and welcome to Dining with the Diva. I'm exhausted. We had an insane week of chocolate. I help with a program called the Call Chocolat, and so I was up in northern Italy. We met in Torino, which is the home to Gianduja, which is one of my favorite chocolates. It's a hazelnut paste enriched chocolate, which is really melts in your mouth. I don't know if you've ever had ice cubes in America, but the chocolate has been kind of, let's say, stretched with a nut paste, and that makes it kind of melt in your mouth at body temperature. So with the École Chocolat, we take students who have completed the online program, and they're allowed to come and do the master's program. So I help with the Italian version, and they met in Milano, came to Torino, toured Torino, and we visited, hi Robin, we visited some of the master chocolatiers and tasted beautiful chocolates. Torino has a really different style than a lot of the rest of Italy. They created the Gianduja, which is what most people would know as the inexpensive grocery store Nutella, which when they had the period of time when they weren't allowed the colonial items, which were the things that made chocolate from, they stretched the cocoa beans with the hazelnut paste and added sugar, and so that was where they got this thing called Gianduja. And it's a chocolate candy shaped like a triangle, and then it turned into a spreadable paste called like Nutella. Ciao Holly, hi Mary James. So today I need something savory. Someone was joking about what about doing chocolate. I don't think so. We had like 12-hour days on our feet making chocolate. So it's not only hard because you're standing on your feet and you're working like producing food, but we're also studying. So we had a fabulous chef. His name is Salvatore Toma, and his actual chocolate shop is down in Puglia, which is the heel of Italy, down like where the high heel kind of comes from. So he was fabulous, spoke English. There were a couple little words that we had to tweak a little bit, and I can't believe how much we did. We had, I don't know if you saw my pictures on Facebook, but we had this enormous buffet of chocolate and some really great flavor combinations. So if you know someone who came to École Chocolat this year, they learned how to make a little round ball of chocolate filled with a mojito combination that he suggested, serving as an aperitivo. We had saffron flavored and with sweet dessert wines in them, ganaches, creams, chocolates, nuts, fruits. Hi Mary Jane. Oh yeah, a glass of rosé. Here it's kind of cold and rainy. I'd rather have a pot of tea. I came home to rain. It's really too bad. But the flowers look great. My plants are all in bloom. I have a bunch of asparagus up. I really can't wait. And yeah, the chocolate was just insane. It was really good. Might have to go down to Puglia and see him, because most chocolatiers, in America, most of the chocolate guys also do ice cream and pastry. So most people start in pastry, put in chocolate as part of the thing. So the chocolate here is so pure and so delicate, they can't really sell it in summer when it's really hot. So they tend to go towards gelato and dessert. So he was explaining the idea where you follow through with the flavor that you develop. So it's a really fascinating class. And for me, I was a pastry chef, but I didn't really get into chocolate making. We'd melt some chocolate and do some decorations, but I learned how to make chocolate truffles and things that are kind of fun that you could do at home, and chocolate creams, chocolate mousses. But chocolate candy making is a little bit different. I think I have to let my cat out. Wait a second. Come on, baby, go out. I think it's really amazing. It's amazing how animals train us. We think we train animals. Oh, hi Kansas City. Do you know Jasper, my friend Jasper? He comes here and we tour Italy together. Okay, so I wanted to get started, and because we have so much time, well, whatever. In the time that it takes to cook chicken, I always figure I can do something else. Like in the time it takes to boil water, you can make the sauce. So when you do pasta, and the time all that has, if you're smart and you're doing dinner, like usually when I would do my cooking classes, you would get, oh, thanks, Michelle. It's all in timing. People think cooking's so hard. because maybe you're just not organized. When you've been a professional chef, you know that while you start maybe heating milk for a cream dessert that you need hot, then you could put something else on to cook over here, something else to cook on here, and something on over here. And then if you time it correctly, starting with the thing that takes the longest in the time, for example, it takes to bake an apple pie, I could be sauteing some greens and a chicken breast and get water boiling for the pasta, and by the time my pie is done, everything else is done. So you usually start with the thing you're going to eat last, like a cake or like panna cotta. You need things to set up. Panna cotta isn't, we won't be able to see it finished today because it's jello. Okay, the reality is it's jello. These are Italian gelatin sheets. So we're going to start by making the panna cotta, and then we're going to do pollo a mattone. Somebody asked for that. And this is a real Tuscan clay mattone pot, so it's really heavy. The bottom is not so heavy. It's a nice clay dish, and this goes stovetop. But this weighs a ton. So traditionally, if you were going to cook it, oh wait, let me put this down. If you were going to cook that outside, the recipe came from, they call it spatchcocking a chicken. You know, taking out the backbone, cracking it open, and pressing down on it so it lays flat. Creating this Tuscan herb marinade rub. We use olive oil, we use vinegar, the Tuscan herbs, and some more spices. And then you cook it over the barbecue grill with bricks on top of it. So in America, what I would suggest is have a cast iron skillet and then get a big pasta pot full of water, and that's your weight. It's easy to make in a bunch of different ways. Sometimes people would call it a pollo al diavolo because they like to have black pepper and chili, which is like, you know, the devil's work. So let's let me think. I think what I'll do first is I'll do my, like I would do for dinner. Hi Jenny, you're in Roma. Wow. We're going to start with the panna cotta, and what I want to do is make it a little fancy today. I'm just going to use half a liter of cream. Now, when we buy cream, this looks like a milk carton. It says, you get everything backwards here. The thing is with Periscope, everything comes out the right direction. Latte merimana, you would think, oh no, I'm buying milk. But actually it says panna montata, panna fresca. So we have different kinds of cream. I'm going to look at my glasses. We have also like a UHT cream, which is to do with like tortellini cream, that kind of thing. This is whipping cream. So you take unwhipped whipping cream. Let me find their information here. This is 36% fat. This is a beautiful, full, heavy cream, which is really, really wonderful. And I think that that's what gives it so much flavor. So I don't use vanilla. So in America, I think the whipping cream is 33%. And that's why you usually add a little more flavor. You can infuse it with things. But what I wanted to do is you just heat this, okay? You heat the cream. This is a half a liter. This is 2 cups. And all I do is lightly sweeten it with sugar. And all these recipes are in the cookbook. Okay? I don't like to make it too sweet because I usually like to put some sort of a topping or a sauce on it. I'm just going to put this as half. I'll just do maybe 2 tablespoons. And we're just going to warm this. It doesn't need to boil, it just needs to melt the sugar, okay? While I'm doing that, I don't know if you've ever seen this. These are gelatin sheets. When I was a pastry chef, we used gelatin sheets because you could do it by weight. So it was really easy to know how much liquid went into whatever size pan we're going to use and then divide it by how much a sheet of gelatin, let me cut this open, solidifies. In America, we have Knox gelatin, and one package solidifies 2 cups of cream, okay? Or liquid, water, juice, Jello shots. You can make, with this you can make anything Jello, okay? Let me see how many are in here. So this says that it's, you always have to double check because there's different weights. 5 sheets of 4 grams, and this is for a liter. So I'm doing a half a liter. So I need 2.5 sheets. So these look like glass. Okay? Oh, how cute. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Mom. See, they kind of look like little stained glass windows. I think these would be really cute for gingerbread houses, okay? So I need 2 1/2. I'm just going to break this in half. Listen. It's like plastic right now, and it's hard. Oh, there it went, okay? One thing about how much gelatin you need. Our refrigerators aren't that cold, and I'm going to be, if I want to make it chill really quickly, I would up the gelatin. If I want to make it the day before, I'd use less gelatin. To me, the third time you make a recipe is a charm, okay? You make it the first time, do it with a whole liter, and make it maybe in small cups because that's pretty for a presentation. Sometimes even make it, excuse me, directly in wine glasses. I'm going to put this now in cold water. Gelatin goes in cold water first. And it just gets covered, okay? Just gets covered. I'm just going to have it sit there. And it'll go from being like hard plastic. Ciao, Erika. It'll go from being hard plastic to feeling like saran wrap, okay? So I'm just going to stir my cream here so that the sugar melts. And once it breaks the steam, like you can see that it gets hot, that's it. To me, it changes the flavor. It gives it that hot milk flavor, which is so yummy. If you didn't want to use sugar, I love it with honey. I think honey is really a great flavoring. You could infuse it with lemon zest or orange zest. I often, for parties, I'll do a saffron panna cotta, which is really fun. And I do my Persian version, where I garnish it with pistachio nuts and candied rose petals. It can be anything. You can put espresso in it, make a cappuccino. It's really, really good. So once that's hot and the sugar's done, then it's going to be ready. But what I thought I'd do today to make it special is my other favorite dessert is crème caramel, which is a custard base which has eggs in it. And then it has the caramelized sugar on the bottom of the little pan, like these. And then when you turn it upside down the next day, the caramelized sugar returns back into liquid and kind of cooks into the custard there and comes out of the pan. So I wanted to do that for my panna cotta because it makes it really pretty when you turn it out. So I'm just putting sugar, a little bit of sugar, directly on the stove in a pan. And I'm not going to stir it, I'm not going to do anything. It's just going to melt down, it's going to caramelize, and it's up to you what color you want that to go to, how caramelized. I kind of like it a little dark, so it's a bitter contrast with the sweet cream of the dessert. And remember, I said I'm not adding any vanilla. But like I said, at home or where you live, if your cream isn't as fatty, you probably want to add a little bit of vanilla or whatever flavor you'd like. There's also, you could make it with milk. It doesn't have to be heavy cream. There's a lovely almond milk dessert that they make in Sicily. Let me just get a pot holder here. I want to burn my hand. It's already starting to melt. Sugar melts really quick, so I'm just shaking it, not stirring it. Okay, my cream now is just starting to steam. I'm turning that off. Let me check my gelatin. Oh, I forgot to tell you. You have to promise not to tell people how simple this is. Oh, Mary James, yeah, buttermilk. In America, yeah, buttermilk panna cotta is really good. So let me just show you this now. Do you remember how hard the gelatin was? Can you see now it's all soft? Like saran wrap? That's all you have to do. Traditionally, like in America, that powdered gelatin knocks. You put it in cold water, it swells up, and then you add it to the hot. So I can just add this now to my cream. The hot cream, and I'm just going to melt that in there. Make sure you get it all out of the water, and do not throw the water in. I had somebody once who threw all the water in with the gelatin. Then you change the ratio of how much gelatin you had for your liquid, and it's never going to solidify. So now you want to stir that the gelatin. Oh, my sugar's melting. Got to shake, shake, shake. You want to stir the gelatin so it melts evenly. Yeah, don't walk away when you're melting sugar, okay? So that's it. This is the easiest dessert in life, so don't tell anybody. If they want it for a party, say give me a week's notice. I'll be glad to make it for you. and then just make it the day before. And you will have to test your refrigerator. You know how old Jell-O gets really rubbery? If you're going to make it the day before, you may find you want less gelatin, so when you go to serve it, I like this. This is just really soft, kind of a, almost like a custard. The first time I ate it here, I just couldn't figure out how they made a custard with no eggs, so it's pure white. It's really beautiful. I turn this down. It started to melt, and this is a stainless steel, so it's really hot. It smells so good. I love caramel. Usually I do this, it's really nice with strawberries and raspberries and blueberries, 4th of July kind of stuff. It's really good. So I'm shake. It's, first it starts to clump up, and then it melts into liquid. When it's liquid, I'm just going to pour it into the bottom of each of these pans, and then you want it to set so it turns to like glass, okay, so it gets really hard. And then I'll pour the hot cream on it and let it cool a little bit, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator until it sets. So maybe when we finish the chicken, I could just pretend to put one in the freezer or something. See if it sets up. So it's almost there. Should have a few more little sugar crystals on top here. Hi Bill, how you guys doing? I saw you guys have some nice asparagus in Provence right now, huh? We're almost there. And it's a nice kind of a dark caramel. See that? It's getting liquid. So anyway, did you see the scenery that I filmed when I was up there on Lecco? So the Lake District has those 3 big lakes, and we were on the other side of where Como is. This little village, Lecco. And we went and visited this state-of-the-art, privately owned chocolate factory. Oh, Ann, how are you? Where are you, Ann? Okay, so it's almost there. Just making sure there's no lumps. You want the sugar to all be melted. And you just really need to shake it around. Okay, that's done. So see, I like a nice dark caramel. If you want it to be lighter, sometimes it's easier to add a little bit of water. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit to the bottom here. I'm going to do it while it's hot. Don't let it sit around. Oops, come on. Come on. I'm thinking this is going to be 6 portions, but I really don't know of the cream. I wasn't being very technical. I didn't weigh. I'm going to warm this up for a second. I didn't measure how much these held. I figured they're a little over an etto. Oh, you're back in DC. Cool. Okay. Oh, there you go. Come on. So I suppose you could do salt caramel, right? Okay, so now I've got that. I'm going to let that just sit for a minute until I hear it crack. So this is burnt my finger. That was really hot. I was trying to spread it, but when the milk hits this, it'll spread out a little bit. Sometimes I make it more liquidy and I actually move them around and have it coat the sides a little bit, so I can get a lot of caramel. For this one, I just want like a little decoration. It's perfect. It's just that cracking. I'm going to use a spoon. It's almost there. If I put it on the counter, it'll cool faster because I have marble counters. Okay. So we'll just wait a minute, and then we could put the cream in. In the meantime, I prepped some of my chicken, and then I'll show you how I do this. We're going to use skinless, boneless chicken thighs, and I couldn't buy them that way, so I'm going to do them myself. And I'm just going to lay them in my pan here, and there's 6 of them, so I'll do one and show you how I do it. So this could be like in a cast iron skillet, like I said, would work really well. I like using the thighs. They're just one of the best things in the world. I think they taste great. Okay, and then this ends up having one in the middle, which will be the one we clean right now. So it's like perfect size for this. See that? Oh, you're on the airplane? You can use Wi-Fi on the airplane? How come I don't know about that? Airplanes have Wi-Fi now? I I was always told to turn off my phone. Okay, let me just see. Can you hear? Nice and hard, okay? So I find also the easiest way to do this is actually, I should have just heated the milk here and something with a spout, the cream. So to pour it, I'm just going to do this to make my life easy. Okay. Now this isn't hot, so I can just pick it up. And so this is Jello. Italian Jello, Panna Cotta, cooked cream. Now apparently in some of the original recipes, it's just a cream with so much sugar, almost like the, what's that called? The dolce di leche, where the sugar and the cream were cooked. Oh, look how perfect. So it is 6. Half a liter is 6 desserts of this size. So if I wanted, I think this is also great as a smaller dessert. Okay, that's it. And now this is going to go in the refrigerator. Okay, oh, you're on the ground. So, okay, that's going to go in the refrigerator. As soon as this cools off a little bit, I'll just put it over here. Okay, so let me show you the chicken with a brick now. I started making some of my Tuscan herb mixture, which is on the already on the YouTube channel. If you don't know where my videos are, there'll be a link later. So this is rosemary, sage, garlic, and I'm mincing it nice and fine. And to do this recipe, I kind of do it like a porchetta salt, where I'm going to add black pepper, and I have chili pepper in here already. And I'm going to add the secret ingredient, which is fennel pollen. So instead of fennel seeds, oh, hi Karen. Wish you could smell that. This is fennel pollen. So before they let it go to seed, and this is like gold, but I think it's such a beautiful flavor. I don't know if it's over 100 a kilo now, but you use just pinches, big pinches of it. I do it on a grilled pancetta. I do it in my porchetta kind of recipes. Ciao, Ken. I'm going to Oxford, Ken. I'll see you there. I just signed up to go to the Oxford Symposium on Food, which is my first time. I'm really excited. So anyway, I have the wild fennel pollen, which is very Tuscan. You could grind seeds. I just don't like getting seeds in my teeth. And then black pepper, which Florentines hardly use at all. They don't like it because we have a really peppery olive oil. And they say it gives you kidney stones, so whatever. I buy the ground telecherry, which I really love. So I'm going to be kind of generous with this. I like pepper. And I rarely eat it, so this will be nice. I can hear can you hear the sugar cracking in the container I cooked it in? That's really funny. And then we've got this rosemary, sage, garlic. Okay. I kind of like this better than the barbecue because it won't flame up like when the grease comes off on there. So you would usually like massage these in, rub them, and you can actually let them like, you know, sit for an hour or so and let them marinate. I love that noise. Okay. And salt. I didn't put salt in the herb mixture. So add salt here. I use sea salt, which tends to have more minerals than sodium. So you can be generous. Again, know your salts, know your ingredients. I think that's what's really hard. People write cookbooks, and if I have different ingredients, it's going to be a different recipe. Okay, pepper, fennel pollen, salt, Tuscan herbs. The best vinegar you can buy. I love vinegar. This is the one I think I've showed you before. San Giacomo, which I know I've seen some of it in America. He makes traditional balsamic vinegar, younger balsamic vinegar, but he also makes a beautiful selection of wine vinegars. I know he's had a fig one, he has an apple one. And I've seen some of his vinegars in Chicago. So it's imported like by Villa Imports, my friend Alessandro. So I like, instead of lemon juice, some people like to use lemon, I like to add vinegar. I think it makes a great tang and tenderizes the chicken. I think it's really, really good. Oh, God, that vinegar is good. That's the one is aged in a clay pot, like the Georgian wines are done. So nice olive oil. Drizzle on here. I'm going to put some in the middle for my next piece of chicken. Now, how can I show you this? Let me see. Let me move my herbs out of the way. Can't see that there. Maybe if I bring this up higher. No, change places. Come over here. Yeah, kind of. So anyway, so this is a boneless, skinless chicken thigh. Okay, so this is where the skin would have been, right on this side. When you turn it over to this side, you can see the bone of the chicken. Okay, there's usually one part that's a little more exposed. What I do, take a really sharp knife, okay, and start to draw your knife down the bone on one side. You'd hate to see me cut myself, right? Just free the bone. This is where you need the overhead camera. This is hard to do live, you guys. Okay, free the bone. Can you see that? The bone's getting freed on that side. And then scrape. Just scrape the meat. And you free the bone there, okay? And then you take your knife and go underneath and kind of just make a little hole all the way through there. I'm going to have to come down to the cutting board now. And I'm going to cut away the bone at this one end where it's really exposed by taking the knife up like that and then down, cutting into the cutting board. And that's going to release the bone for me. Okay? See that? There's a Indian recipe where on the wings you pull them then down and you actually cook them like that and you have the little like drumstick. I'm going to take the whole drumstick out. And that's just, again, scraping the meat away with the sharp side of the knife. Okay? Like you would do for those drumsticks. It's a cute presentation, okay? So, when I get down here now, I'm just going to use my knife to cut the meat away from the head of the bone there, okay? This is all free now. See, can you see that? I'll do it down here so it's not going to rock. You just want to be sure you don't get any of those little pieces of the bone in there, the cartilage. It's like the knee bone or something. So I've got this little piece with bone left over. I say this and I make stock out of it, okay? Just chicken broth. And here's my boneless, skinless thigh, which you guys can just buy like that. So I'll put that in the middle, and I'm going to re-season that too with everything like the other one. And then this goes on top of the stove. I have a heat diffuser, and our clay things we use on top of the stove. We have gas stovetops and electric ovens, and electric ovens tend to be expensive, so people don't do that. So they have barbecue or on top of the stove in this chicken with a brick thing. Okay, a little more oil on top of him now. I know some people, when they cook this on the barbecue, they wrap their bricks in aluminum foil to keep it clean. And even here, sometimes people like to separate the clay pot. So this is a simple little heat diffuser right here. Ciao, Felipe. I'm going to put it on the stove. This will probably take together about half an hour because they're boneless. Put that on there, and then we just simply cover it with the weight. Okay? Now, what do you want to talk about? So let me just clean up here a second. And we can talk about porchetta. Somebody asked if I could do porchetta. And to tell you the truth, you know, I worked with Dario Cecchini at the butcher shop for 2 years. And we did porchetta like almost every day. And his porchetta was an arista porchettata. If the real porchetta, let's say real, the traditional porchetta is mostly in Umbria and Lazio, which is south of Tuscany. Lazio is down where, where Rome is. And they take a whole hog and they open it and bone it, then do all the seasonings, usually putting the liver down the center. Roll it up, tie it, and depending how big the pig is, 3 hours, 5 hours, however big the pig is, it takes like an overnight sometimes cooking. Dario took half a hog and left the pork roast there and then the ribs. So he would bone out the ribs and then wrap it, and it would make a beautiful pork tenderloin, not tenderloin, but the pork roast in the middle with the pork belly around it. And that was another really nice version. The inside of the lid is unglazed, yes. The cooking part is glazed. And so what I've seen people do too in America is just get the pork belly and put a pork tenderloin down the middle or 2 pork tenderloins down the middle. So if you want, we could do like a fake baby version of a home porchetta, and it's still going to be these same Tuscan herbs. That's the thing. And then you can see how I just tie it up, and then it goes in the oven. But we can't sit around here for 3 hours. We could have a come back online 3 hours later, the next day or something, and see the porchetta done. But there's different ways. Most people like skin on, so it gets crunchy. And I suggest cutting through the skin so the grease comes out and it gets really crispy on top. I really like that. Anything else while you're watching me? Hi, Terry. Hi, Margaret. Margaret, are you here? Margaret's supposed to be coming to Florence. So this is on high. I'm going to let that go. I have my oven going just because I thought later I'll throw some potatoes in to have with the chicken. But we're not going to eat now. It's too early for us. It's 7 o'clock. We usually about 8:30 or 9. Ciao, Margaret. Oh, you're not here yet. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I'm just going to let this go for a while, and then I'll turn it, and I'll show it to you when we turn it, because it's really, really, really beautiful. Okay, a dumb question. How do you clean your cutting boards? I wash them, and I have like a stainless steel thing to scrub it off with. Number one, our chicken doesn't have salmonella, so it's not that big of a deal. In America, or Canada, you're in Canada, right? I think you really have to worry about disinfecting things. When I was just up cooking too, we were talking about the problems with raw egg whites and raw egg yolks. And pasteurization, that kills flavor and it changes the consistency of sometimes when you're working with a product. It's not easy. But also, I think the plastic ones are kind of worse because when you cut into them, it actually, I think stuff grows in there. Whereas when you cut into a wood cutting board, there's kind of a natural bacteria killing thing in wood. So they made us get rid of all our wood and go to plastic, but plastic's really worse, I think. I just got one of those new bamboo ones, and it's really beautiful, and the knives don't really cut into them at all. So it's really nice hardwood. I like those a lot. But was that why you were asking? Because of the chicken? Having chicken? I use hot water. I don't use soap on them, and I wash them down, scrape them really good. So it's already sizzling, and then what happens is because of the salt in here too, it's drawing out the liquid for the chicken, so it's going to have this big broth there. Ciao, Gilda. No, I don't think you're going to get fennel. They're not flowers, it's pollen. Did you get some when you were here? Gilda has a house in Florence and in Mexico, San Miguel de Allende. So the fennel plants come up, they get the pollen first. They cut the plants, you hold them upside down, and you put a bag around them, and you let them dry, and then you shake it, and you collect the pollen. Or you buy a big bag when you're back here. It lasts a long time. Or you can just grind the fennel seeds. So it's more of a powder instead of the seed. It has a different mouthfeel, and it's really nice. So this is already sizzling away. And I'll turn them a couple of times. I like to get them really crispy. So this almost too helps steam the chicken on top, as well as, you know, when you have a whole chicken, someone was asking me about cooking a whole chicken too. You have the whole chicken, same with turkey, and you've got the big thick breasts, you got the little wings, and you have the thighs, and you have bones. So it changes all the cooking times. So if you actually debone something, like take the backbone out of the chicken breast, and then they crush them down. It's called spatchcocking. When you have the chicken, you push down where the wings are attached, and you break where the bones are connected, like right there. So instead of sticking together like that, they actually will lay flat together. And the wing and the thigh are the same thing. And you've crushed the breastbone, so the whole chicken lays flat. And by putting a weight on it, then it flattens it and it cooks evenly, which is really nice. And the same with these thighs. Thighs are usually really thick on one side and thinner on the other, but by taking the bone out and flattening them, it makes it cook evenly. So it's really a good trick. And I love these the next day. I think they're even better the next day because of the vinegar infuses in here. And someone said, why don't you make chicken with lemon? We don't really do chicken with lemon, but you would serve fresh lemon juice on top of barbecued food. We don't do barbecue sauce. Putting the herbs here is about as fancy as they get. Steak, mostly is cooked with nothing. There's a school, some people like to salt it first, some people don't salt it until the end. So, let me see if I could show you this, because now it's already starting to turn white. Where's my other pot holder? Right here. It smells so good already. I can't really turn it too much. Can you see how the little outside pieces are turning white and all that juice that's coming out? Like I said, you can just do this in a nice cast iron skillet. This is going to go really quickly, so we can just hang out. Hi, Diane. The vinegar? Okay. The company, you can't read this because it's backwards, is Acetaio San Giacomo. And he's a famous balsamic vinegar maker. The San Giacomo is a famous traditional balsamic vinegar maker. And this is, I don't know if this is available in America, because I just got it last time I was there. Aceto di Vino da Amfora. A-N-F-O-R-A is a clay pot. Like an how do you say that in English? And this has no water, and it's spontaneous oxidation. So it's really, really a natural old style thing. And you can see the color. There's even like little stuff in there. It's unfiltered, not filtered. So this is a white wine vinegar made from Garganega grapes, undiluted, naturally, spontaneously acidified, not filtered, not pasteurized. Can make, oh, it's in English underneath. Oh my God. Okay, and clay amphora. And the flavor is just incredible. At home, you could use an apple cider vinegar. It's probably, thank you. Yeah, it's written here in English, Margaret. Amphora. You just say it differently, right? Different accent. I'm so confused anymore. It's bad. So I've been here now 32 years, and I came here when I was 30, so I've been in Italy longer than I was in America. And I'm just confused all the time. I don't know if I think it's getting worse. I forget my English. I have to look things up. Hi, Sherry. It does. No, it tenderizes it too. It's like a marinade, like lemon juice. It kind of breaks down the meat and gives it a really good flavor. I think papaya, pineapple, they have enzymes that break down the meat. So that's why usually people do a marinade to break it down. And that's not like doing a brine. A brine, instead, through osmosis, gets flavor into the meat. So they sometimes boil sugar and water and spices and then put the meat like overnight or 3 days or 5 days so that the meat gets flavor. Well, here all our stuff I think just tastes better, so we don't really do a lot to it. Okay, let me just flip the chicken now. Because I can see it's already white around the edges. So it's kind of already it's almost like giving off so much liquid that it looks like it's poaching, okay? which is starting, I'm very tender cooking, instead of just like, grilling it where it would be really dry. So I really love this pan idea because it is moist, just to make sure it's not sticking on the bottom of the pan. And then towards the end, when the liquids evaporate, it's going to get nice and crunchy. Okay? There you go, back on here again. Most barbecue sauces have vinegar in it. So I think it's also a really great contrast of a flavor component too. I forgot to look to see what time. Let me go check my Panna Cotta. I'm going to cheat and put one in the freezer. Sorry to leave you guys. Okay, so the Panna Cotta cooled off enough for me to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to cheat and put one in the freezer. So see, by the time the chicken's done, if I can unmold it. Just checking to see if anybody left me a note. I was thinking, somebody asked me to make chocolate. I could show you how to make my salami dolce, my favorite dessert in life. It's always fun to have something that's to tease people with. It's chocolate and cookie dessert that you make, and when you slice it, it looks like salami. It's my favorite dessert, served with like whipped cream and berries. Very, very cute. This smells so good already. That fennel pollen gives it a really, 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 really nice fragrance. I wonder, then of course I think about, what about like Chinese spice powder? If I wanted to go Chinese. Hi Philippe. What would be great? Oh, salami dolce? Philippe, where are you now? Hi Jill. Philippe, are you in Argentina or Brazil or America or Canada? Canada, I think you said. Toronto? So where's everybody from? I know where Jill is. Well, I know she could be one of two places. Yeah, you're in Toronto, that's right. I was just with Canadians from Vancouver. We're in the chocolate class. That was fun. This is like, I shouldn't touch things. I should just let it go. I should be watching TV. I usually go in the other room and watch TV when I have something cooking. So then you, if you mess with things too much, sounds nice. Detroit. I don't think I've ever been to Detroit. My old roommate was from Detroit. Kathy. So this is really giving off a lot of liquid here, and this is, it was an organic chicken that I bought at my grocery store. I think the more commercial chickens would even give off more liquid. Sometimes they're actually pumped up with brine solutions, so you can get those pre-brined turkeys and everything. So I brought home this huge box of chocolates that we made. I posted a picture on Facebook before. I have to hide them though. The fillings are so rich and they're so good, but if you put them on the table, it would just be a big problem. And then we went to a couple of the really famous guys, and I bought a couple packages back from there. It's my chocolate for the year, really. And then that's it. That's why I need potatoes tonight with salt. Last night I ordered a French fries in my room. Anaheim, okay, yeah, in there. One of the things I love about the Culinary Association I belong to is that we go to a conference every year, and they change where it is every year. So I was just in Louisville, where I've never been, and then I travel and teach usually around where the conference was. So I was in Florida before, and then I went to Louisville, and then I went to Memphis, and then Chicago. So next year it's going to be in New York, and so but it's in February, so I might go to California, someplace where it's warmer. Oh, the limoncello ones were incredible. Roast with chicken with a brick, roast potatoes. I love potatoes. This is such a simple thing. I mean, usually Italians do two vegetables. They'll do one cooked vegetable and one raw vegetable. So they would have like roast potatoes or sauteed spinach, and then a salad, like sliced tomatoes or a green lettuce salad. And then they usually finish with cheese and fruit. Never with cake at home, or cookies or candy or something. They tend to eat more cookies for breakfast in the morning. Yeah, so much liquid on here. So we really want the liquid to go away, so now it'll start to crisp up. And I was really surprised I couldn't find thighs with the skin on. I love crispy chicken skin. So I don't know why that's become so unpopular. And where does that chicken skin go? What do they do with that? Wasting, wasting, wasting. Yeah, he made several liqueur-filled chocolates. We had the Pasito di Pantelleria, which is a beautiful dessert wine, which I usually have like with gorgonzola. Pantelleria is an island off the coast of Sicily. It's so hot down there. They let the grapes, some of the grapes, sit on the vine until they turn to raisins, and then they crush them for a raisin wine. And it is just, it tastes like honey. It's really beautiful if you ever get that. We have Vin Santo, which is kind of the same thing, except because of our weather, they hang the grapes up off rafters in a room where they leave the windows open and closed. They move them around so air comes in. And they it's usually a white wine grape, so they usually harvest them in August and hang them till December. Crush them, put them in wooden barrels that has a big cork on top, and then the cork is sealed with cement so it doesn't explode in the fermentation process. And they usually, so they'll close it around Christmas time, and usually open them again several Easters later. They're really good artisan. Vin Santo, 3 to 5 years old before it gets bottled. So it's really lovely. Yeah, it's like that. The Canadian ice wine, isn't that fabulous? It's so good. And the cheeses. Are you having fun in Toronto, Felipe? So where are you working? Tell everybody. So if they want to come see you. Are you being a butcher still? Or a cook? When I worked at Dario's, every once in a while I go by and I get to meet all these great apprentices that come and work with him from around the world. It's really fun. So see where Filippo is. And I always love going where somebody I know works. It makes it so much more special. Or going even to a city where I know somebody. I'm kind of tired of being just an empty tourist. I just like to go where I know someone and can take me around and show me the markets and good restaurants and feel like I'm home instead of having to discover everything over and over again every time I go somewhere. That's work. I met a couple on the train today, and I took we have a fancy private train now called Italo. It's not more expensive really than the other trains, but I ended up, if you buy your tickets in time, you can get first class at the price of regular tickets. So I bought a first class ticket, and as I'm going to sit down, I see these kids there, and I was looking for my seat, and it turns out they didn't know the train tickets had seat numbers, so they were even in the wrong car. And then we ended up, when we got off, we saw each other again, and they were on their honeymoon, and they were both chefs. But the guy was saying that, he really had wanted to see like Parmesan cheese and balsamic vinegar and go to Bologna. And his boss said, "Oh, no, you're on your honeymoon. You shouldn't be working." Well, that's not work. I mean, he was like so excited. I said, "Leave your stuff in the hotel because there's a new fast train that you get from Florence to Bologna in like 40 minutes. There's no reason everybody can't go up for a day trip to Bologna. Most people go to Venice for the day, and that's like 3 hours up and 3 hours back. You can go to Bologna, spend the whole day, see Parmesan cheese, probably not being made because that'd be like 8 o'clock in the morning. But go visit where it's made, see how the production is done, do tastings, buy Parmesan cheese. The fresh pasta in Bologna is incredible. Balsamic vinegar is in mode. And once you're up there, those towns are all very close to each other. So you could easily do a day up there in Emilia-Romagna. Part-time at a butcher shop, stock in trade. Okay. Let me just check the chicken again. I'm going to turn it. I especially love these little, the caramel. So this is shrinking up a little bit now. The pieces, when they kind of start to, oops, here it is. It's starting to stick now. That's good. They kind of caramelize the dark meat, and it's so, so good. Yeah, this is perfect. Almost there. So it doesn't take very long to cook like this. Let me just show you now. I'm picking up the diffuser, which I don't want to do. Can you see there's some little brown bits now on the top there? Well, Filippo, Karen Gordon, I met at Dario's when she was with David Rocco when he was filming in Tuscany. So yeah, you guys should connect. See, that's fun, you guys.